In this video, I'll show you how can you add sort or order feature to your HTML table with the help of vanilla JavaScript. As you can see, when I click the tables heading, if your tables data they are in ascending order, then it will arrange into descending order, and once again if I click the same heading, you will get that reverse effect, and vice versa. Without further ado, let's start. Hello and namaste everyone, this is Jitsaru with CodingDesign. Welcome to our channel. If you are new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. By the way, if you want to go along with me, this is the code that I have taken from the last week's video. In that video, I have shown you how can you search and filter HTML tables data by using vanilla JavaScript. So these are the codes. As you can see, I have already linked the JavaScript file as well as CSS file. In the standard CSS file and in JavaScript file, you can see few lines of code. Now with the help of live server extension, let's open this index.html file in our default browser. As you can see in the source field, if you search any tables data, we are able to search data with that beautiful animation. So I have already given the videos link in the description below, you can check out, or at top right corner in iCard you can find it out. Okay, let's change the title. For the title I am giving sorting table using vanilla JavaScript, or you can call it sort and HTML table. Now inside the section with class name table body, you can see I have already created table with table heading. So now for each heading, I want to add extra code. That is, I'm going to create span tag with class name icon arrow. And inside that span tag, I'm writing ampersand arrow of semicolon. With the help of this HTML entity, now you will be able to give arrow of icon. Let's see a result in our browser. Did you see that? You'll get this kind of arrow of icon. Now let's style that span with class name icon arrow. So for class icon arrow, I'm giving width and height of 1.3 rem. As you know, for the span tag, because it's an inline element, so let's give display inline block so that we can give that proper width and height. Similarly, let's give the border. For the border width, I'm giving 1.4 pixel. Border style to solid, and for the border color, let's give this purple color. Now let's give the border radius of 50% so that it would make circle shape. Similarly, let's give the text align to center so that we can bring that icon exactly at the center. I'm giving the font size of 1 rem, and also let's give some space. For that, I'm giving margin left of 0.5 rem. Similarly, let's give text color to same purple color. Right now I won't give that, but whenever you are clicking that table heading, at that time we will give that. Okay, but when you take your mouse to that table heading, let's change that mouse cursor to pointer so that it would indicate like you can click that table heading. Now you can see when you hover, you will get that pointing hand icon. Now whenever you are clicking any table heading, I want to change that text color. So for that, we need to select all these table headings. So for that, in the script.js file, let's duplicate this same code and let's change that variable name to table headings. And now we are selecting th, and be careful, I have given their query selector all because we want to select each and every headings of that table. Okay, you can take that table heading variables and you can give something like dot for each. So with the help of this for each function, I'm trying to iterate each and every table heading of that table, and it will take the each head. And within that callback, I can give something like head dot on click. So now when you are clicking any specific heading, that heading's color that should be changed. So for that, I'm writing head dot classlist dot add. So we are adding the class active, but we haven't given any active class for that heading. So in the standard CSS file for the table heading, when you are giving class active, let's give the color. We are giving the same purple. Once you click, it will change into purple color, but I don't want this effect. We want something like whenever you are clicking any specific heading, I want to change that specific heading's color. Now in order to avoid this problem, once again we need to iterate each and every table headings. So we can copy the same code and paste it there. So for each heading, once again let's give the class list. You can write something like head.classlist.remove active. So what we are doing is that before adding any active class for the specific heading, we are removing all the active class that is given for each and every heading. Once again in the browser, did you see that? We'll only change the text color of that table heading that we have clicked. Now once again, let's duplicate the same code, and now whenever you are giving any class active for that table heading, at that time for the span with class name icon arrow, I want to give this code. Okay, text color, we don't need that color, we'll give only the border. So in the browser, did you see that? Now whenever you are clicking any specific table heading, for that specific table heading, you will be able to change that text color, as well as you will get that icon with round border circle. But in order to give that smooth transition, first of all, let's duplicate this border, and now let's change that border color to transparent, and also let's give transition. For the transition duration, I'm giving 0.2 second. For the timing function, is in out. So once again in the browser, did you see that there is smooth transition within that icon? Now whenever you are clicking any specific heading, I want to change that text color of columns of that heading. So in order to do that, once again we need to iterate all the table row which are within the table body. We can iterate that table rows. So once again you can use that for each function. Now that callback will take each row. For each row, I can write something like row.querySelector all. So we are selecting all the table data. I want to show you the result in console. So let's wrap it inside the console.log. Now in order to get that specific column of the heading that you have clicked, you can give something like square bracket. Before that, you need to pass the index of headings. So now whenever you are clicking any specific heading, you will be able to get that heading's position, or you can call it index. So within that square bracket, you can pass that position of that heading, okay, that you have clicked. And in the browser, if I click that heading, did you see that? You will get that specific columns of heading that you have clicked. What about if I click location heading? Did you see that? We are getting specific columns data that belongs to the location heading. Now in order to change that each and every text color of that columns, again we are giving class. So I'm writing dot class list dot add. So once again we are adding class active for that table data of a specific column. If you are going along with me, or if you didn't skip any part of the video, little moment ago when we were adding class active for that specific table heading, we were facing the problem. So once again we will face the same problem. So in order to avoid that problem, once again we'll use the same technique. Again I'm writing document.querySelector all, and we are selecting all the table data, and with the help of that for each function, once again we are iterating each and every table data, and for each data, once again I'm writing td.classlist.remove. So we are removing all active class from that table data. So before adding any class active for specific table row, or you can call it specific column, we are removing each and every active class from table data. But if you have noticed that within the CSS code, whenever you are giving class active for that table data, at that time, so what you can do is that you can cut this code and let's give comma and paste it there. So with the help of this technique, we are sharing the same CSS code. Once again, when you are adding class active for that table data, we are giving the text color of purple color. In the browser, when I click that specific heading, did you see that? We are changing that specific column's text color that belongs to that heading, okay? Now it's time to add some extra animation. So something like when you are clicking any specific heading, at that time I want to rotate that up arrow, something like to down arrow. So for that, first of all, let's declare sort ASC variable. Okay, that is my bad, that should be ASC, but I have given there ARC. I'm assigning true. So initially we'll declare that ascending as true. So now what you can do is that for the heading, once again let's give the class. So I'm writing head.classlist.toggle. So with the help of this toggle method, we can add and remove that ASC class that represents ascending, and that depends upon the condition. So for the second parameter, let's give the boolean value. Right now it's true. That means for the heading, we are giving ASC class, but as soon as that short ascending variable's value changes to false, automatically it will remove ASC class from that specific heading. Later on, we will change that short ascending variable's value, but first of all, in this style CSS file, let's select this code and let's duplicate it. So now whenever you are giving class ASC for table heading, at the time for the span with class name icon arrow, let's give the transform rotate I'm rotating to 180 degree. So in the browser, did you see that? Now when you are clicking at that time, that icons, it is rotating. But what if I click once again? Did you see that? It doesn't change back to its original state. So in order to get that, we need to change that short ascending variables value. So for that, so that is my bad. Okay, that should be ASC, but I'm writing there ARC. So for the short ascending variable, I'm assigning head.classlist.contents. We are checking whether the head that we have clicked, does that head contains that specific class name ASC. So with the help of that contents method, it will return the boolean value. So if it contains class ASC within that head that you have clicked, it will return false. Otherwise, it will return true. And I'm again taking the help of ternary operator. So now just above that code, as you can see, I have already given their toggle method. So with the help of that toggle method, we'll be adding and removing that ASC class. That depends upon the short ascending variable. If the heading that you have clicked that contains the ascending class, then we are changing back to descending. That means we are giving false. If the heading that doesn't contain ascending class, that means descending. So we'll change it back to ascending. So this is what that true is representing. Did you see that? We are toggling. That means we are changing the initial and the final state of that down arrow. But as you know, this video was all about sorting HTML tables data, but till now we didn't accomplish our mission. So now we need to swap the position of that tables data, and that depends upon the whether we are in ascending order or descending order. So for that, I'm giving function name Sortable. As you can see, we haven't created that function. So now let's create function Sortable. And inside that function, now what you need to do is that we need to iterate each and every table data that belongs to the table body. Although it seems like we are getting an array, but that is not actually an array. That's an collection of HTML element. So now we need to convert that tables rows into array. So what you can do is that you can wrap it inside that square bracket, and with the help of rest operator, that means with the help of that 3 dots, now you'll be able to convert that HTML collection to array. So if you ask me like why I'm doing this, it's because array provides us one method, that is sort. In order to use that sort method, we are converting it back to array. So now you can write something like dot sort, and within that sort method, it will take 2 parameters. You can give any name. I'm giving a comma b. So within that callback, I'm writing let first row is equal to a.querySelector all. So that A represents the first row of table and B represents the second row of table. So now with the help of that querySelector all, I'm passing their TD. So we are selecting all the first rows table data, and I want to get the text that belongs to that table data. So I'm writing dot text content. In order to prevent that case sensitive, I'm giving dot to lowercase. So we are converting all the text to lowercase that belongs to the table data of first table row. And let's duplicate the same code. Now let's change that A back to B, that B, okay, and let's change that variable name to second row. I want to show you some result in the console, so I'm writing console.log first row comma second row. In the browser, if I click any specific heading in the console, okay, we are getting error. Oh, it's because in order to get that specific text of that table data, we need to iterate. We want to get the specific column of that table data. So now what you can do is that, as you can see, we have called that Sortable function whenever we were clicking any specific table heading, and at that time you will be able to get that specific position or index of that heading. So now you can pass that I inside that Sortable as parameter, and now once again inside that Sortable function, I'm representing that I as column. And now next to that querySelector all, within the square bracket, you can pass that column, and you can give the same thing for the second row. So now with the help of this code, we are trying to get the exact specific table data that lies within the specific column of table heading that you have clicked. And now you can see when you are clicking any specific table heading, we are getting that specific columns table data. So now instead of that console.log, I can give the condition. If that first row is less than second row, and I'm using ternary operator, if that is the condition, we are giving 1, otherwise -1. So that -1 means we'll swipe up the position, or 1 means like we'll keep it the same. As you know, we have used their sort method. Once again, it will return the new array with new table rows that we have changed the position. So once again, we can iterate with the help of that map method. So I'm representing that row as sorted row. So within that callback, let's give document.querySelector. So I'm selecting table body and I'm writing dot append child. So we are appending the new table row that we have sorted. Okay. Now if I hit that table heading, what the hell? Okay, I have done there some mistake. If your first row is less than the second row, at that time we need to swap up the position. So there you need to give -1, otherwise we need to give there +1. And also the most important thing is that we need to return that value. So let's give that return keyword. Once again in the browser, if I click that heading, you see that table data, they are arranged in ascending order. But what if I click once again, there is no any changes in that table data. So what I want to give is that when you are clicking table heading, if your table data, they are sorted in ascending order, at that time will change back to descending order and vice versa. So in order to get that kind of functionality, so now what you can do is that, as you can see, for the sort ascending variable, initially we have given there true, and at the end of code we were changing that variable's value dynamically. Within that sort table function, once again we can pass another new parameter, sort ascending. So now within that sort table, once again we need to pass that another argument, sort ascending. So now, as I have already told you, that we are going to use nested ternary operator. So with the help of that sort ascending variable, if our sort ascending variable's value is true at that time, now let's wrap this code inside the small bracket and let's copy and paste it there, and you need to give there colon. So if our sort ascending variable's value, if that is true at the time, let's change that -1 back to 1, and let's give that +1 to -1. So with the help of this code, if we are in ascending order at that time, we'll change back to descending. So once again in the browser, did you see that? Now whenever you are clicking that specific heading, we can change it back to ascending as well as descending order. And what if I sort the specific value? Did you see that? It also works for that new source result as well. Everything is working completely fine, but for the better user experience, you need to give some hints for the users that where their mouse they are taking to, For that, let's select this code and duplicate it. Now whenever you are hovering or taking your mouse near to that table heading, at that time we are giving the border for the span with class name icon arrow, and whenever you are giving class active for that table heading, at that time for the span with class name icon arrow, instead of that border we'll give background color. For the background color we are giving the same purple color, and for the text let's give white color. Now in the browser, did you see that? Whenever you are taking your mouse near to that table heading, you are getting that icon with circular border. And also whenever you are hovering the table heading, at that time, let's change the table heading's text color to purple color. Now in the browser you can see, when you are taking your mouse near to that table heading, at that time we are getting purple text color, and as soon as you click, did you see that? We are getting that circular purple background color with icon. So I think it's pretty good. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did learn something, smash that like button. If you have any kind of queries, let me know in the comment box. Share this video if you think someone needs it. And also, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell icon. Remember, there is always more to learn, so keep learning.